It was revealed to the UK press last week that the Cabinet is considering changing the annual MOT test to being every 2 years. And though the government hopes this might have a positive impact, the truth is something really rather different. So today on TwinCam we're going to discuss the possible effects of such a change. The MOT test was introduced to Great Britain in 1960 and is the standard roadworthiness check that most cars have to go through in order to remain road legal. Before 1960 there was no test, and the rising number of cars meant that busier and busier roads were being littered with cars that just weren't safe. Fast forward to the modern age and government announced that historic vehicles, i.e. those over 40 years old, no longer needed to be tested, as the owners of these cars, apparently, cared and knew enough to maintain them appropriately. But now the government is looking at the biggest change to this system since it was introduced some 62 years ago. The idea behind it is nothing to do with the difference between modern vehicles and those from 1960, but instead the absolute state of this country's economy. Thanks to inflation levels not seen for generations and enormous energy prices, the government seems hell-bent on not addressing the causes of these things, but instead finding quick, easily implementable policies to try and look as though they're doing something at least. One of these was a temporary cut in fuel duty, which the Chancellor promised would reduce fuel prices by 5p per litre. The truth, shock horror, was that fuel prices didn't budge at all. Oil companies kept the prices the same, just paying less tax and making more profit. This time, the idea is that motorists won't have to have their cars tested every year. And somehow, that will ease the cost of living crisis. So let's get to numbers. The maximum price a garage can charge to MOT a car is £54.85. Split that across 2 years and that equates to 52p per week. So the possible economic benefits to the motorist are minimal. But in reality, it might actually end up costing more. Though £54 is the maximum a garage can charge, most don't. There are lots of people that pay around £40 for an MOT, and garages that really want sales advertise that they'll do MOTs for something like 29 quid. But I can assure you that if MOTs were changed to every 2 years, garages would all start charging the maximum £54.85 because they don't want to lose the income. So that 52p a week already becomes a meaningless figure. But that possible extra charge isn't the end of financial matters. Simply charging a bit more for MOTs won't cover the loss of earnings. So I wouldn't be surprised if garages increase their labour rates as a result. So if a car does fail an MOT, it'll cost more to fix. And then there's the test itself. MOTing a car is all about discretion. Having a checklist for vehicle safety is impossible to implement consistently when there's such a variation between different cars and such vague wording in the book. One MOT tester could fail a car on 5 different items, but you take that down the road to a different MOT tester and it would have 3 advisories and 2 that just disappear off the list completely. That discretion matters, and if garages are going to lose income that's vital to their survival, be assured that they'll all become a lot harsher. And that means more fails. And more fails means more money. So that 52p becomes an even weaker saving, to the point where it'll likely end up costing motorists more than it did before. So any economic argument is blown completely out of the water, and that's without even looking at the impact on the garages. But alongside that failure, the proposed change would be a disaster for road safety. It's no secret that the vast majority of drivers don't pay attention to their cars, and even those that do care don't always have the knowledge or financial means to keep them in absolutely perfect condition. Over 30% of cars fail their MOT at the first try. And what that means is that these 30% of cars are unroadworthy according to our standards. Some of them with something minor, like having an ineffective wiper blade or a blown fog lamp. But many others have knackered brakes and bald or cracking tyres. And those two issues are major safety concerns, not just for the driver, but for all road users, including pedestrians. So what the Cabinet's been discussing is, in effect, the lowering of all of our standards. Because there's no economic argument for this, it's purely a case of allowing people to drive poorly maintained cars for longer. This is an idea that is simply astonishing in its short-sightedness, and even this government, surely, cannot legitimately say that this is a good thing. And I'm 99% sure that within a week of this video being published, it will be consigned to history forever, never to be seen again. But if you disagree with me, then I'd like to know why, so please do put a comment down below. And on that note, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then please do click like and subscribe to TwinCam as well. And I'm forever indebted to my wonderful Patreon supporters as ever, and if you'd like to support me that way, then please do follow the link for that in the description. And I'll have more videos coming along soon.